Hi, I'm Haydn. Today I'm going to talk about the 3 skills that are needed by a business analyst. As the practice lead, I constantly get asked about what business analysis is. Fundamentally, the role of a business analyst is to take the requirements from someone who needs something and translates that information in the form of what we call requirements and translates it across to the person who is actually going to deliver against those requirements. So the big element of being a business analyst is the skill of being a translator, being able to take the information from the one to the other. So let's talk about the first skill, and that is the ability to ask appropriate questions and be able to listen to the answers. There are 4 different types of questioning techniques. There are open questions, closed questions, factual questions, and emotional questions. When you're actually starting with seeking information from people, commonly known as stakeholders, you normally start with an open question. That is, what is it that you're looking for? What that does is trying to elicit some information rather than a yes or no answer. Yes or no answers are what we call closed questions. It's either A or B, and we use that to actually drill down and verify what it is we're actually saying. You may need to ask how many elements need to be done. Is it how many applications are performed? What's the processing speed? And that's where we use factual questions, where we're really getting to the heart of the information so that we can make these requirements as solid as possible. And last but not least is the emotional questions. What frustrations are you experiencing? What's causing you the angst in relation to this? What that'll do is it'll lead you into areas of pain points in organisations, and that ultimately leads also to help become better requirements by using the 4 different questioning techniques. The next thing is then to try and drill down on that information to try and get the true detail in a language that people understand. If I turn around and say I need some data point functions required to be then handed over, at the end of the day, if the person who's receiving that information does not understand that type of language, it's very difficult for them to deliver against your requirement. So the skill here of the business analyst is to make sure that they can actually put it in words, whether it be documentation, graphics, whether you're using Agile, and ultimately what we're trying to achieve here is to get to what we call specificity. In other words, we know it as specifications. So a word that I always like to use when someone gives me some information, I like to use at the end of it to get the detail by saying, specifically, what did you mean by that? And what it does, it takes it to a whole new level of information and data, and ultimately that gives you better quality requirements, which ultimately are needed to be able to find the solution or solutions that are going to meet those needs. Last but not least are these things called assumptions. Assumptions are things that we believe to be true. They're not facts. And in projects we know that we have to base a lot of our decision making on things that we believe to be true. So let me tell you 3 steps on how to handle those assumptions. Firstly, document them. Make sure we get them out and we can share that information. Secondly, work out how we can turn those assumptions into facts. Obviously, going and asking those different types of 4 questioning techniques helps on that fact. If you're not able to turn them into a fact, well, obviously that becomes a risk, and that is something that may have a positive or negative impact. Risks can be ultimately managed if you document them. So as you can see, by being a great business analyst, we focus on 3 key elements: the ability to question and listen, the ability to get specific information, and last but not least, the ability to make sure that we're dealing with facts, not assumptions, because ultimately assumptions have a big impact on the delivery of projects. The question I want to leave with you today: which one of those 3 skills do you need to wrap up and become more efficient in?